Good afternoon. 14th of January here today, Thursday. We're in the middle of lockdown. I think the last time I was here was around about the 3rd of January, which is about 10 days ago. Things have moved along in the greenhouse, and I've been waiting really for seed arriving, and then I can show you a little bit about what I'm doing with sowing seed. I've had quite a few questions which I said I would address on this particular video. The first question came in was about the heating of this particular greenhouse. This greenhouse is 50 foot long, 12 foot wide. It's fed by a household gas boiler, and it feeds 4 radiators on either side of the greenhouse. Incidentally, the boiler's not in here, it's in a boiler shed behind the greenhouse. Feeds through into the greenhouse with a water pump, and feeds 4 radiators on either side of the greenhouse. Each radiator is 8 foot long. So there's 32 foot of radiator down each side of the greenhouse. Temperatures I hold, I'm not a one for pampering anything. I don't put a lot of heat on. I know a lot of people have got their greenhouse set as 15 degrees, which is 60 Celsius. Mine's set barely I don't think it'll be on 10 degrees, it might be on 8 degrees. I'm looking really to hold around about 48-50 degrees in the greenhouse, just to keep the frost out, and everything grows quite happily for me. It grows nice and sturdy and stocky at that. I do have heated cables on the bench. There's 100 foot of cable on the bottom bench, heated cable, and on top of that there's 2 inches of sand, and that emits quite a nice temperature, soil-based temperature of 60 degrees, possibly a little bit more, 64 degrees, which is ideal for germination. Someone asked about which compost I use. Everyone's preference is it's up to themselves what they use. I'm never paid to recommend anything, so I'll actually tell you what I use, and then you can take it from there. I know a lot of people don't like using peat-based compost, but I've used it all my life. I've been growing for over 50 years, and I've always used peat-based. So until they actually stop manufacturing peat-based, which may not be in the too distant future, I'll continue with it. My preference is Clover Professional. They're 75 or 80 litre bags, and that's what I've used for a lot of years. But today, for seed sowing, I haven't any Clover seed module left. So all I've done is, this is Clover compost, 60 litre bags. It's just a general multi-purpose that you'll buy in any garden centre. It does state on the bag that the peat in this product has not been harvested from any areas of scientific interest. There's still plenty of peat in Ireland, and again, it's 100% Irish moss peat. So this is good compost. We are setting the seed today, so a 60 litre bag has been put through a quarter riddle, and it's produced a very fluffy, lovely compost mix, which I'll bring the camera down and show you in a moment. By riddling a bag, you don't get any lumps in where you're setting your seed, and the seed should be very easily pricked out, and you should get it out without snapping any roots. If you don't riddle it, there are a few rough, coarse particles that's in the compost. The roots go through it, and when you try to pull them out, they tend to snap. So I always remove the coarse particles. Just put that away. I'll just show you. Out of the 60, these bins, I've got 2 compost bins on the bench, which I'll show you again when I lift the camera down. They each hold a 75 to 80 litre bag of compost. This one was totally empty. This is the seed one. This one is a potting mix. This is Clover Professional, which I am potting into at the moment. From the 60 litre bag which I've just riddled, it fluffs it up, and it actually makes it a lot, it looks bulkier than it is. I've got approximately, I would say, maybe 7 or 8 litres there of coarse particles that's come out. It's still good compost, and what I'm going to do, I will actually add that into my potting mix. I certainly don't mind a bit of coarse particle in there. I know a lot of people say they don't like anything coarse in, but through experience I find that it helps to open the compost up, and no problems for me. So that mixes into the compost, and that will give you a good compost for potting on with. Again, we'll just pop that under the bench. We'll just get ready. I was also asked about the leek heads, how we actually get grass on the heads to the stage. If you remember on the last video, I did set some leeks from grass, and someone said, how do you actually get to that stage? I've just wrote an article for the National Veg Society. It'll be in next year's book, which covers, you know, more or less a season. But basically, once you've chosen the stock plants that you want, you put them back to seed, usually around about September, October time. I remove all the foliage off, I remove the roots off, and if it's a leek 16, 17 inches around, I skin it down to the green core in the centre, get rid of all the excess skins that's on there. You end up with a funny looking leek. That goes into a water with a fungicide added for a few days, maybe a week. You'll see small roots appear on it, and then they will be potted up into a decent compost in a 5 litre pot, overwintered. I don't water a lot during the winter, I just barely keep them moist. And the following year, around about May to June time, they'll throw a seed head up. That will increase in height until you get a seed pod on the top. That will grow in size, still in the sheath, and once it reaches a full flower head, it will burst the sheath open. Leave it for a few days to let it form properly, and once it's formed, I then take a pair of scissors. I do grow some plants from seed, but not a lot because they don't grow true to the parent. To get a clone from the plant, we need to take a vegetative cutting, which is the grass or the pips that we do. So to get rid of the seed and to produce grass, I take a pair of scissors and cut all the flowers off down to about 1/2 inch of stubble. It looks like a little crew cut haircut on the top of your seed head, and within a few weeks they will produce grass. Usually about 6 to 8 weeks they will be ready more or less for setting. I usually shave the heads about August time. They'll be ready for setting around about October onwards, and as we see, just last week I was setting the later heads. I've still got a couple of heads lying here which I may still set, I may not, I'm not sure yet. Plants are going out, we've started posting, and I'll show you a little few things and we'll talk about a little bit seed. I'll remove this off the pod. Right, where do I get my seed from? Well, again, it's everyone's own choice where they get seed from. I do buy seed from garden centres. I've had seed from Marshall's, Thompson Morgan, Sutton's. They all produce good seed. King Seed's very good. Getting into the exhibition seeds, you've got Select Seeds, Keith Foster Seeds, Medwin Seed. This is his catalogue. It's a very good catalogue. It has a good range of everything in, and as you can see, I just mark up in the book exactly what I want. These are tomatoes I've opened up on. This is a tremendous tomato, Maisie F1. I did hear someone on Facebook asking about, you know, was Maisie any good? For me, it's one of the better ones. I've actually got 4 packets of seed this year. Just running through the seed, we've got that I'm going to set today. Capsicums, the Akron F1. I've never grown that one before. I'm going to sow some giant cabbage, the heirloom type, Cornish giant. I grew some spring onions last year, Guardsmen. They were tremendous, really big. They lasted the full season and they were excellent. I'm not selling that. This is a free sample that he sent up, a new leek, Stromboli. We'll sow those today. What else have we got? Some onion Tasco F1s. We'll sow those today. The tomatoes I'm not sowing today. It's still too early for me. Some people will start setting tomatoes, but you need plenty of space and plenty of heat, and I haven't got the space at the present moment. So these will be put away probably until early March. Varieties I would recommend, which I have grown. Sweet Apparative. It's a very nice plum tomato. Beautiful. Riesling. I grew that last year for the first time. It was superb. The flavour was excellent. Plum shaped fruit, and it was excellent. Really good. So we've got a couple of those for this year. Goldwyn, which it's an F1. It's very much like Sun Gold. Hopefully it doesn't split as much. It's a new one to me. And then, as I say, Maisie. I've got a few packets of these. There's not a lot of seed in a packet. There's only 10 seed in a packet. But I will be taking cuttings off these, as we see later on. Carrots that I grow, Stump Carrot Sweet Candle. It's a good exhibition variety, but it's excellent for the table as well. Cucumbers, far too soon for these. These will not get sown until the end of March, possibly even into April. Carmen F1, there'll only be 5 seeds in a packet, but that's all you need. Cooper is a very good one. Beetroot Cardiel, it's a new one. Cabbage, Kiloton, there we are. That's a round cabbage, stands very well. This is a new cauliflower for me. I'm going to give it a try this year. I don't grow a lot, but I'll grow a few just for the house. I love radishes, so this is a new one for me. Solito, it's an F1 hybrid. And Hawkesbury Wonder French beans. I love French beans. I grew that last year for the first time, and they were very good. So that's a few seed. I've got a lot of other seed. I've got the basil and a lot of different types of herbs, which we'll be setting as well. And this will be put into this beautiful fluffed up compost. It is a really nice compost. That's the ones we're going to set. I'll show you how we do it. I am posting leeks out at the present moment, and I don't post towards weekends, but start at the beginning of every week. They're taken out of the cells and they're posted from cells along with the onions as well. In doing so, I usually wash all the roots off. Here's a typical plant that we would be posting. Plenty of nice root on it. All of this soil is washed off, and in doing so we end up with a clean plant, but we can see the roots here and it shows us if there's any problems. We've got an issue with this one. It's not botrytis. I would think it's a little bit brown rot. That's actually probably come from the head. The rest of the plants in this particular tray were all okay, but that one's turned up like that, so it's just a start and the onset. It's no good. For all it's a big plant and it's a reasonable plant, plenty of root on it, it's no good, so that'll go in the bin. So just burn that one up and destroy it. We'll move along the greenhouse, have a quick look. I'm trying to think of other questions. It's difficult to remember everything, but I'm continuously sowing exhibition onions. Here's a batch that they were put on the lights at the back there about 4 days ago. I've just put that tray on. As you can see, it's not stood up properly. These are a few seed leeks. They are seedlings. Moving along, taking an overall look at the greenhouse, and as you can see on both sides, we're starting to get a few gaps appearing now, which is good. A few of the virus-free Cumbrian, these haven't had lights at all. Nice and clean, they're looking good. Lovely dark colour, as you can see. And I'll show you some that are a little bit bigger. Got younger plants here. These are on heated cables along here. This is now cleared, as you can see. This is a warm bed that's just warm to touch. It's very nice, and that's where all my seedlings will be going on today. Look around here. If you remember, there's quite a few gone off here. I had to put grow lights on these leeks. These were Cumbrians down at this end, and they were looking quite sad. And if you see here, you see where the virus has overtaken the plant. It does this, and I think anyone who's growing Cumbrian without grow lights on will have problems with this at the present moment. The lights do increase the growth on them, as we can see, and it does more or less, it doesn't remove the virus altogether, but it reduces it because the plant's growing hard. So the virus is, it does inhibit the plant. We look at these ones. These are virus free, and they are much cleaner. They're looking kind of nice at the moment. Now these have had 10 hours a day lights on for about 10 days. The lights are finished now because the plants that I needed to pick up, they've picked up. The ones at the front here, they've just had 2 or 3 days at the end. It was a few I had left, so I shoved them on. So they haven't had as much light. Now they are stepping up a little bit, but if we look at some plants here, these ones are faring much better, and they are, as they are starting to put size on, they're cracking open and dropping back down in length. I don't want to get too long, but having said that, I'm hoping they're a little bit longer than last year's. We did set some home seed. My wife grows peppers in the greenhouse. She kept one of each type, and we've set them. There's only a few come through on one and none on the other, so I'm not too happy about that. But you know, I am buying some proper seed in, and we've still got what we need. But I'll get a half a dozen plants out of there, and that will do us to keep her strain going. Moving back along, still got some leeks in trays like that. Onions, we are here. These are onions which are all wired up. If I go in close, you can see the wires on them, the wire supports. You can just see the wire supports here. think I showed you how to make those on the last one and what they were from. There's a batch of pendle leeks which haven't been set too long over there. They were set around about Christmas time, so they'll be 3 weeks old and they're stood up very nicely. They will go on the lights for a little while before they're posted out. And if you remember the last time I was on setting leeks, these are the ones that we set, and I put 4 to a cell, and as you can see they're starting to lighten up in colour, they're starting to grow nicely. I did snap all the grass down to make these about, well, maybe an inch high, and as you can see they're all away now, changing colour, they're starting to grow. They'll have to get potted up. They'll not be too long because the roots will get pretty good, and that's in 10 days. They've stood up very nicely. So that's the pendle blanch leek. Right, we'll move back along here. As you can see, these are the leeks waiting to be posted out. I'll start again on Monday posting. Right, let's turn the camera back around. Put it back on the tripod. Right, so we've covered temperature of the greenhouse, we've covered potting compost, how we produce the seed heads. If you have any questions, I say fire them in and I'll answer them on the next time. Right, onions I will put up into the trays which the way I've set my own onions in the 12 or 20 packs. The leeks I'll do the same. Onion guardsman, that's the spring onion, I will do the same with that. Cabbage Cornish Giant, I'm not sure how many seeds we've got. There won't be a lot, but we'll take a look. Get the packet open. They're in foil packets, which keeps them nice and fresh. Oh, there's a good few seeds. Yeah, there's plenty of seed in there, so I'll put those into an open tray as well. The only ones that will not have a lot in will be the capsicum, and they are probably in a little plastic tube anyway, which we'll take a look at. Peppers and capsicums take a long time to grow. They need a warm temperature, so there's not many in there. They're in a little file, as we can see, and I think there'll only be 5 seed in there. So I'll probably set those 5 all in one pot. I would only use something like a 5-inch plant pot. Doesn't need to be a deep one. Fill with compost that we've saved. Just set the 5 seed around the side. You can see that 5 seed. I'll likely cover that with some vermiculite. I use vermiculite for covering all my seed. It holds the moisture, it's nice and light, and the plants always germinate well. A label in that tray, watered up and placed onto the heat bed, and next time we come, maybe in a week or fortnight, we'll have a look and see which seeds germinated and which ones haven't. So that's the Acheron capsicum, and as I say, I'm going to follow away with the giant cabbage, the onions and the leeks, and that's about all for today. Just a quick update, as I say, the weather's terrible. We've had snow, heavy snow over the last 24 hours. We're having, most nights are quite heavy frost. We're having -3s, 4s every night at the moment. It's raining at the present minute, so I hope it rains heavy and gets rid of this snow. We're in the middle of lockdown, so everyone keep safe. Hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks very much now, bye bye.